Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are Group Taxation 2. We'll discuss about assignment Taxation 2 about GST and SST. Let me introduce you first about our members, which is me, SUHAIDI, ADHAM, FAIQ, NAUFAL. We are going to discuss about this article.
What is Goods and Service Tax? The Goods and Service Tax, or known as GST, was implemented in April 2015 and was converted to the Sales and Service Tax in September 2018. The GST was a multi-consumption tax imposed on goods and service at every stage of production. Businesses were required to change a 6% rate, collect the money and send the money to the government via tax report. The GST's main goals were to increase tax income and lessen the government's dependence on oil. The implementation of electronic filing and payment system was just one of many significant changes to the tax system that were made in order to establish a GST. Businesses have to register for the GST and comply to new reporting and record-keeping standards. Also, the Malaysian government offered significant support and training to assist firms in adjusting to the new tax structure. Next, Sales and Service Tax, also known as SST. The government announced in July 2018 that SST would be re-established, taking effect on September 1, 2018. Businesses must register with the SST system if their yearly turnover exceeds 1.5 million ringgit Malaysia. Through the website of the Customs Department, businesses can register online. To educate them with the SST system, the Malaysian government offered businesses, accountants, and the public education and training. Also, Malaysia launched the SST on September 1, 2018, offering different tax rates on different goods and services. The service tax rate is set at 6%, while the sales tax rate range from 5% to 10%. Businesses that are registered with the SST system must submit their returns either monthly or quarterly.
Let me discuss together about differences between GST and ST at first point. History. GST applied in 6% to all goods and services, while ST in range 5% until 10% if have services must plus with 6%. About date of apply in the GST and ST is GST implemented on 1st April 2015, while ST has been used since the 1970s. In other hand, tax relief also be the point difference between GST and ST, which is GST eligible to claim input tax, while SST non-complete tax relief. About the vital differences between GST and ST is GST at multiple stage at manufacturers until consumer, while ST at sales points means that at two levels only from produced by raw material and consumer. We can see another perspective, which is tax revenue estimate per year. Estimate GST returns is 45 billion ringgit, while ST gives 12 billion ringgit. We can see clearly government will take profit from GST rather than SST because it gives more profit. All in all, transparency between GST and SST is GST is high while SST is low. It means that GST we can track and see the data, while SST maybe some manufacturer take opportunities to lie about record collecting tax from customer. If about submitting, GST can be submitted by monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly, while ST files is in bi-monthly.
Benefit of not reintroducing the GST is lower impact on low-income groups. The GST is a regressive tax. By not reintroducing the GST, the government aims to reduce the burden on this group. According to the evidence, the news mentioned that food inflation in 2022 was at a rate of 5.8%, which has a direct impact on the cost of living for low-income individuals. According to expert analysis, regressive tax such as GST burden low-income households. By not reintroducing the GST, the government is taking a step to address income inequality. Let's move to the drawback of not reintroducing the GST. Number one is limited revenue stream. The GST is a broad-based consumption tax. By not reintroducing it, the government might face challenges in funding public services. According to the evidence, the absence of GST might result in a decrease in government revenue, impacting the ability to meet expenditure requirements. And according to the expert analysis, GST can be an efficient and stable source of revenue for the government. Without it, alternative measures will need to be implemented to fill the revenue gap. The second one is potential impact of fiscal consolidation. Malaysia, like many other countries, has faced significant economic challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Reintroducing GST could help the government consolidate its fiscal position and manage public debt more effectively. For the evidence, the article mentions that the government is considering fiscal measures appropriate for short and medium term needs, indicating the importance of addressing fiscal challenges. And for the expert analysis, according to it, some experts argue that GST can contribute fiscal consolidation and debt reduction. It allows the government to diversify its revenue sources. And the third one is limited flexibility in tax reform. By not reintroducing the GST, the government might limit its option for comprehensive tax reform.
Based on my opinion, good and service tax GST is better than the sales and service tax SST because the GST broadens a country's tax base and brings in more revenue. The fact that the GST is more effective than the SST is partly due to the fact that more than 170 nations have implemented some form of a VAT, value add tax or GST system. As a consumption tax, the GST is regressive because 60% of the economy is based on the consumer spending. Moving forward, Malaysia must step up its efforts to improve revenue collection through a tax system that is more progressive and have a clear implementation schedule. The removal of exemptions from consumption tax on non-essential purchase, the expansion of capital gains tax, and the investigation of other progressive tax structures such as wealth tax are some examples of these policies. It is important to introduce spending efficiency improvements in addition to the strategies to increase income. It may be necessary to reallocate some spending items to achieve spending efficiency in social areas like education. Furthermore, more efficient targeting of social safety net service could increase spending effectiveness. There are three benefits that GST can offer Malaysia business and consumer, which is first, improved standard of living. The revenue from GST could be used for development purpose for social infrastructure like health facilities and institutions, educational infrastructure and public facilities to further improve the standard of living. Second, lower cost of doing business. Under the current system, some business pay multiple tax and higher levels of tax on tax, cascading tax. With GST, business can benefit from recovering input tax, thus reducing cost of doing business. Third, and the last, nation building. GST is better and more efficient method of revenue collection for the government, more funds can be channeled into nation building projects for progress towards achieving a high income nation.